Hi and welcome to the podcast for Game Week 12 and Game Week 13 preview. Today I'm your host Mihir, as John is late to his own meeting, so we're going to kick off for him and do his own job for him. He hasn't been too good in the podcast lately anyway, so it's probably best that he doesn't take this over. In the room today I have Nicholas and Abby with me, and hopefully John arriving soon. So today we're going to discuss last week's fixtures, starting with Binesh and Sham's game. Sham winning by 47 points to 40. Nicholas, what's your thoughts on this game?
I think Binesh really turned the squad around. Really good job to him. 40 points is it's not something he's achieved for a long time, I think. Sham getting the 47. I think Sham's probably the strongest team in the league at the moment. So not too surprising that he took the win, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree. Sham's actually got a very, very strong team. There's not any obvious weaknesses. I would say it was his strike force, but Jimenez seems to be gaining him some points as well. He's made a cheeky bid for De Bruyne, so hopefully he'll be fresh. As long as he doesn't do his third knee in, he'll be fine. Binesh, he just went up against a stronger opponent this time round. He seems to be turning it around, so he probably won't be doing a forfeit next game week. That's probably going to be me over here. But I think he was just unlucky to play Sham in the form that Sham is in.
Yeah, he got some good waivers in, and now his players are back from injury, so he's actually got a very good midfield, good defence as well, good keeper. It's just up front that he's struggling a bit, but I think his midfield and defence can cover for that. But it was a close game, and Binesh, he put up a good fight. Moving on to the next game, John versus Nicholas. Nicholas winning by 39 to 37, a very close game. Nicholas, how do you feel about the win and moving to top of the table with this win?
Yeah, I feel very good, obviously. But maybe we should postpone this match for when John is in the room and go and discuss Honkin FC versus Giant Spain.
Yeah, I think just before that, I do want to congratulate Nicholas on going top and also beating the strongest team in the league. It's never easy when we play John, purely because he does have the strongest team in the league. So to beat him,
John is the best team in the league.
The best team in the league, with players like Sterling and Aubameyang. So to beat John is always a great scalp.
Yeah, well done to James. He got the most points this game week, 55, probably his strongest game week of the season. To be fair, he had a good defence. Robertson, Keane, Dunk all getting him a lot of points.
Mkhitaryan scoring out of nothing.
Yeah, but Greg as well, he always puts up a decent score, and 39's not bad. Again, he just got beaten by the better opponent. And it was a big win for James because he kind of moves himself out of that bottom 2, bottom 3. He's now up to 6th, a bit of breathing space. Well, the gap's still close between 6th and 10th. There's only 3 points that separate the bottom 5, but Greg said it was a 6 point, and it really was. James just ahead on points difference.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. James has been putting together a good run of form recently, and by all miracles, Mkhitaryan getting points is amazing. For him to get 8 points is astronomical. Strong performance from his team all round, really. Robertson being the pick of the bunch with 12 points. Even Ings getting points. So very impressive. To beat Greg, like Mihir pretty much said, it was a 6-pointer, and congratulations to Ings.
Greg getting most of the points from the defense, from his defensive side, but looking very strong there. And James just a couple of waivers paying off, and Robertson just has been performing for him all season, I think. What's your guys' opinion on the name changes?
On Keen FC.
Well, I think
and
Greg's
side as well.
It's justifiable. He beat me and Abu, who were top two at the time. He has got a couple of big upsets this season, but his only issue is that he keeps losing to the sides below him, but the sides above him, he beats. James, his team name justifies his situation. Moved to Hong Kong, got Keane in his team, got rid of Sacco. So, no, the name changes are pretty impressive and reflects their managers.
So with Greg, I was a bit surprised he didn't change it to Kingslayer, but he chose Giant Spain, and then he had a guy give an intro who has sex with bears. So I don't know what he was doing there, but I guess that's just Greg's thing.
Moving on to the next game, Abu against Ed, a low scorer, 30-28 to Ed, but Ed picking up a huge win, bottom beating top, probably the upset of the season. Abu, talk us through this one.
Yeah, so I was on a bad run, and I thought this would be the round that I could potentially turn it around. And things were going well until about the 88th minute of the Arsenal-Wolves game, because I had a clean sheet, but then Mkhitaryan comes out of nowhere, scores a goal, which cost me 10 points, close to 10 points. And then on the flip side, for Man City, Bernardo Silva goes and gets 2 assists and sets up Gundogan, which completely ruins everything I had planned. But it is what it is. I'm at a losing streak at the moment. Hopefully, I got Dan next as well, so I'll have to write that one off. And hopefully,
how come you went with the Wolves defenders obviously playing away at Arsenal? I mean, they did a good job, but you had Leno on the bench, Lovren, Mina, who probably had more favourable fixtures.
Yeah, I actually forgot. I was busy doing something else, and I forgot to change my team. I was thinking of putting Leno in and Lovren. Well, I completely forgot to do anything, and I paid for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Ed's team, only Bernardo Silva really got his points. The rest were all 1s and 2s.
Yeah. Gomez.
Surprised he kept Schmeichel on the bench, who was at home, I think, to Burnley, whereas Hennessy had a game against Spurs. I think maybe Ed didn't change his team there as well, but
yeah, it's been, especially with the choice of goalkeeper, he's been slacking a bit. Actually, for a couple of weeks now. So that's something he needs to be wary about, an easy improvement to get more points.
Yeah, it was a big win for him. Obviously, he has the rights to waivers now, so hopefully he can get a couple of good waivers in and build his squad up. So moving on to the next game, it's myself against Dan. Dan winning 54-32. Huge win for Dan this week. I think he got some really good waivers in. I mean, Patterson 12 points, Rondon 12 points. I mean, 2 players you wouldn't expect to get the bulk of his points, but they were ultimately the deciding factors of this week. And whereas in my team, no one turned up. It was just Marcus Alonso who got 8 points. So this was a big defeat for me. 2 losses in a row now, and moved down to 4th in the table, level on points with Dan and Sham.
Yeah, I think you were a bit unlucky because Ronald's done nothing all season, and then for him to get 2 goals and Dan to also get 12 points of Patterson, which is very surprising. And Dan also had 9 points on the bench as well, so clearly it was Dan's game week to get points, and Shaqiri to get points. So you would never expect Rondon, Patterson and Shaqiri to get 1 point, to get 32 points that they did get. So that's just craziness.
Yeah.
You're just unlucky.
Yeah, I think it was one of those days when my team didn't turn up and his team did.
Yeah.
Also had a few injuries. Goodmanson, Sigurdsson, Sanchez all picking up knocks in their games. Well, Sanchez didn't even play. Firmino, he's not been really doing much for me this season. Probably a couple of games where he scored and got assists, but my first pick, not justifying that as a match winner.
I think generally throughout the season, strikers just haven't been performing. Maybe Aguero. That's the only one I can mention.
Wilson.
Yeah, guys even call up as well. Yeah, it's most of the midfielders that seem to be doing it. Martial, Hazard, Salah, Sigurdsson.
Yeah. Now with the table, so Nick moves to top, 1 point ahead of Abu. Then myself, Sham and Dan all tied on 21 points. And then 3 points separate the bottom 5. John level with Ed at the bottom. It's close there with Banesh and Greg as well. So an interesting game week 13 coming up.
To maybe loop back to the game I played versus John. I had hoped maybe he would have the decency to show up by now, but we can just talk it through now, I guess.
Yeah.
Very close game, of course. Arsenal only scored 1, so that takes a lot of points away from
John. Yeah, John's team is very Arsenal and Bournemouth heavy. He seems to be stockpiling Man City players as well. So he has a clear pattern in how he wants to pick his players.
Yeah, obviously he had Holebas on the bench, 8 points. If he played, would have been a different story, but I'm surprised he didn't go with him. I think Watford had Watford play Southampton, who haven't really been scoring any goals, so
Yeah.
surprised he didn't start Holebas. But then again, Ake and Steve Cook have been doing well.
Newcastle, so you wouldn't expect Bournemouth to lose that one.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, with Rondon scoring too, I was cheering.
Yeah, it was a very close game, just 2 points separate you two.
Trippier also went off injured. I mean, that would have been 5 more points for me,
Yeah.
probably.
And Martial scoring the penalty. It was John's player Edison that gave away the penalty, and then Martial put it away. But Felipe Anderson, that was a good waiver you got in.
Yes, my scouts did very well there.
All right, so now we can move on to game week 13 preview. So we got international break now, a week off, and then moving on to Sham against myself. So John has decided to turn up to the podcast 25 minutes late. So John, we just finished talking about your match against Nicholas. Talk us through it, please.
Where do I start? As I said in the media comments, I was very confident going into the game. On paper, I've got a better team than Nicholas. Not doubting his team in the slightest. He does have a very strong team. He did always have a chance, but in all honesty, neither of us played well. He beat me by 2 points and only scored 39 points. It's what happens sometimes, and I don't think I played particularly well. If he's gone away and said that he's played particularly well, then that says a lot about his team. But we left 8 points on the bench. That would have sealed things in our favour. So well done to Nicholas. And top of the table, if you're getting beat by the team at the top, it's not such a bad thing. So that's all I've got to say on things.
And just a question, obviously. You beat Dan and you got a bit carried away with that win.
Sorry, when did I get carried away?
Well, you were saying you're the best team in the league.
I've been saying that for a long time. You're digging now. Let's move on. You're digging.
All right, I'll leave you to the...
Are you going to stop claiming that?
Okay. Go ahead. Ask the question.
So yeah, you claimed to beat Dan. After you beat Dan, you made some big claims. And then...
Are you going to elaborate on what big claims I made?
Well, you said you're the best team in the league. Got a bit cocky with that win. I mean, you only moved up to 8th. And then you lost to Ed.
Which was before. Okay, but carry on.
And now you lost to Nicholas. And you're now joint bottom.
Yeah. Okay, so where's the question?
I guess the question is, do you still believe you have the best team in the league?
Yeah, I've been reading a few things recently about people claiming other people have the best team in the league. I know I've got the best team in the league, and I don't know what more I can do, but just get on with it.
I think
The results haven't really been there.
I
It's
think
more what you can do differently to keep up or reach that mantle of best team in the league.
Yeah,
But
you would know about results not being there.
Man, I'm on a 4-game losing streak,
Yeah.
but I've never
Yeah.
once maintained that my team was the best in the league.
I've never lost 4 games in a row.
But that's fine, right? But you're bottom and I'm second, is that right?
I think Ed made a good point in his media comments.
Oh, is this Ed talking about me again?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody seems to be talking about me in the media comments. I don't know why. Need to worry about their own team. Who is Ed anyway?
What did Ed say?
He said that his team is capable of a 60 points a week. I mean, you got Aubameyang, Sterling, Lacazette. That's not going to happen every week. You know, you need to make changes to your team, bring in your subs, bring in waivers, but you've kept it pretty consistent all season, just making the one trade. Do you think it's time for change, or are you relying on those one big wins, but it's not sustainable over the season?
So basically, you're asking me for my tactics on the podcast.
He's saying what are you going to do differently?
No,
How do you
no,
feel
no.
you need to change your team?
You're asking for my tactics on the podcast. I'm not going to share my tactics with you guys on the podcast.
So I'll take that as a no. Mihir, any thoughts on that? Okay.
I think it's the person I want to be playing least right now. Sham, as we said earlier, probably has the best team in the league at the moment. His midfield's just unbelievable. And it's not the person I really want to be facing. It's going to be a really tough game, and I think on paper I'm in for another loss, but the only thing going for me is that the fixtures are pretty tough for both of us, so it could just depend what happens on the day. But yeah, I'm not confident going into this game, and I really don't want to be playing him right now. And obviously it's an even bigger game because we're joint on points, so neither of us really want to slip up.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. Sham's team is very strong, but I'd assume he'd be giving some players to Dan next week. So you may find that Hazard or maybe even Salah may move over, which will give you an opportunity, and then whether you take it or not. But yeah, Sham's team is just ridiculously strong, especially that midfield.
And as we've been saying earlier, most of the goals this season so far have been actually coming out of the midfield. So they get more points than the strikers for a goal, and they score more. So definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Also in agreement, I do believe Sham has a strong team, but like Abu alluded to, I picked up on a conversation earlier between Sham and Dan, and Sham's got a wager for Dan to beat me in the cup, so I think he's going to be giving players to Dan to try and beat me. So that works in your favour. You're going to be facing a weaker Sham team, and possibility for you to go on and beat him then.
Yeah, I hope so, but
Yeah.
me and Sham are also negotiating some deals, so not too sure. I mean, he had some deals with Benash about players, so got a couple of weeks to negotiate with him and see what happens. But as I mentioned in my comments, I'd love to play you in the MRGA Cup final. I think it'll be a good match.
It's a pretty hefty wager. I heard Sham throwing around saying that he would give up Hazard if he lost the bet, so there's a lot riding on it.
Yeah, and also
Do you know what's in it for him? Sorry.
Um,
Why would he go that far?
a lot of people dislike my team, so I just see it as
I don't think anyone
Just out of
dislikes your
spite.
team.
yeah.
I find it hard to believe.
I don't think. Let's have a little quick poll here. Does anyone dislike John's team?
No,
I think he has a great team.
Yeah.
it's a strong team.
Okay,
It's just
okay.
not the best in the league.
Okay, maybe. Okay, fine. It's a great poll.
I think if you look at the points, you've got probably the fourth most points in the league, so that obviously shows you shouldn't be ninth.
Yeah.
But the point I was coming back to earlier was that
You should
You-
diversify a bit more.
no, not just that, and the person you're playing, you should play against your opponent, so see who they have, kind of try and match them with players, and then you probably have that extra edge to go and beat them. So I think you have like 525 points or something like that, which is the fourth or fifth highest in the league.
That's exactly what I thought. You've been looking quite closely at my team, right?
It obviously doesn't justify where you're on the table. But either you've got unlucky with fixtures, or I don't know, what is it?
Well, unlucky with the fixtures. All of these hate campaigns against my team, people learning in players to beat my team. I don't know, where does it stop? And the thing is...
Hate campaigns.
Hate campaign, that's harsh.
Could
It
you
is,
elaborate on
yeah.
that, please?
Listen. If only I could show you the same time messages I get from people threatening me. You know, I won't turn up for the podcast if you do this. It's like, you know, I don't know where to start with it.
But look, let's take an example.
Listen, I'm just going to play by rule 10 and I'm not going to bitch about it, but I'm just going to say I'm going to play my game and then see where we get to. Clearly on paper, I've got the strongest team. We score the points, but you know, if people are working against me, it's only so far that, like Mourinho said, I've won more than the other managers put together. But if they're all working together against me, then there's not much I can do.
But like I played Mihir, you had, who was it, Salah, Van Dijk, Mane.
Yeah.
What can you do, right? It is what it is. I wouldn't call it a hate campaign. It's just
like I mentioned in that podcast, it was just getting in the players to be sure I knew I could beat Abu, because that was a game I had to win. He was above me in the league. Whereas if I was playing Ed maybe that week, I might not have got loaned in players and maybe would have loaned out players.
Yeah, but would anybody lend Ed players just to beat you? Just because?
Well, Nicholas lent Ed Wilson to beat you. So
but that's what happened with him, right? They lent him players to beat me.
Just because, for no reason.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, it is what it is. Moving on to the next game. It is me versus Dan. So I don't think anything needs to be said about this. We've already heard Sham and Dan have got a deal. So I don't know what teams will turn up, but I'm sure he'll have Hazard or probably Salah and God as well as Richarlison.
I think Dan said,
Maradona.
I don't know if you guys spoke about it before in the first roundup, but let's not put it all on Dan's team. Let's look at your team a bit closer.
My team is struggling big time.
Yeah, you've been fading for.
I
a
think
few
Dan
weeks.
did
Well,
say
no.
you have some
Yeah.
Wolves players who have a favourable game, so they're looking pretty strong. So
Because my team is based on strike force. That's Kane and Lukaku mostly, and they haven't been performing. In the last game week, they got 2 assists. I mean, you don't want that from your strikers, you want goals.
I think
That's what seems to be happening. I just can't get them to perform at the moment. And that explains the run I'm on. Not because somebody's to line up with Salah, it's because just my team is just shit at the moment.
I think
That's what I can say.
Dan said he had a tough round, and he had obviously myself, you, Sham coming up. So I think his main aim was just not to lose round. I don't think he will. Now he got the win against me.
Yep.
But I think his main focus might be on the MRGA Cup this week, so he might have a strong team for that game rather than just against you.
Yep.
So that might come into play.
But I think he's got some like 10,000 points already with Rondon.
Yeah.
So he can't really.
Should be difficult
Yeah.
for him to lose with Rondon up front.
Anyways, sorry we forgot. What's your predictions for mine and Sham's game?
Sham, I think it was unanimous.
And
Sham.
we're all going down against Abu.
Dan.
Damn.
Yep. And the next game, yeah, can't really say much about these teams.
I mean, I think Greg is favoured, but Edward has obviously the waiver priority. So if he makes a bit of an effort this week, does some proper scouting, gets a few new players in, actually manages the team and manages the bench well, unlike in the previous weeks, then I think he's got a shot at beating Greg.
Yeah, I think Ed's probably a slight favourite with his players, the waivers, the fixtures. It'll be a close game, probably a low-scoring close game.
I'm going to go with Greg. I think Greg seems to just pull off just about enough. He's got Mahrez, who never played last time around, so probably will play this time around. That should be enough for him to get over the line, especially with Greg's defence.
John, who do you think?
So I'm going to be rooting for Greg. for obvious reasons.
What are they?
Well, me and Ed are on the same points. But in all seriousness, I think Greg would take it anyway, just naturally, because I just don't think Ed's team's strong enough. He's been bottom of the league a long time, so to Nicholas's point about farming well, he's had weeks to do that, and you know.
Yeah, he needs to make more of an effort this week, absolutely.
And Ed did record 19 points last week, well, the week before, so that's the lowest points total ever.
Yep, so I'm going with Ed this game.
I'm going to go Greg.
Greg.
So Greg, favourite to win that one. Next game is James against John. John, how do you feel about this game?
Just like every week, another must-win game. I think there's a bit of a rivalry on this one. James is an individual that likes to talk about me a lot in the media comments. Don't know why. Last week,
He did call you out.
yeah, last week it was, it's quite personal. He said something about managing a team or Arsenal winning. Yeah, so I just want to shut him up. So we'll see what happens. Plan is to shut him up.
Are you feeling as
Permanently.
confident about this one
Permanently.
as about the last one?
Am I feeling less confident?
No, as confident.
Oh, as confident. Yeah, my team's on paper is 10 times better than Chambers' team.
Same confidence level.
Same confidence levels.
Okay. The loss didn't shake you up.
No.
You were pretty quiet in your media comments this week. I mean, you
Yeah,
didn't say much.
that's why I'm asking. Yeah.
Why was that? Were you hurt by the loss, or you just want to keep your talking on the pitch?
No, if I remember correctly, I was quite up against it, so I had to get something down on paper really quickly. That's what it was. Confidence level was there. Players still do their job on the pitch. What more is there to talk about?
I have to agree, he's actually got a very strong squad.
I know he does.
On paper, he is stronger than James is. James, I don't know, I don't want to say lucky, but he's made some very good signings. Barkley, Mkhitaryan, who would have ever thought Mkhitaryan would get points?
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen
Yeah.
again this week.
And even Ings is getting points. Obviously, he's got Arnautovic, who is doing what he's doing. But
When he's got Newcastle defender, Mkhitaryan doesn't play all the time. Barkley didn't
Yeah.
start, so
he's got Pogba as well.
Pogba obviously
Yeah.
injured at the moment.
But on paper, John's is the better team. So I would be rooting for John.
I think he'll win pretty convincingly.
Yeah. Because he's had his bad game, now he's due his big one. Nicholas?
Agreed. Yeah. John's gonna take this one.
I think that's pretty unanimous.
So going on the final game, it's Nicholas against Benesh. Nick, how do you feel about this one?
Yeah. My fixtures aren't looking that great. Got Arsenal at home for Wilson, Fraser. Chelsea at home for Tottenham. So yeah, most of my players have quite hard fixtures. So I'm probably gonna lose this one. I think Benesh has, like I mentioned earlier, has turned his team around, picked up a couple of good players. Unless I can, make some quick changes to the team this week, or I've got an extra week to make them. So let's see what we can do.
You are in a lot of trade talks at the moment, aren't you?
Well, no comment.
It's interesting that you feel that you will lose this one. Where do you think you will lose it?
I've got Trippier, Davis, and Son playing against Chelsea, and Fraser and Wilson playing against Arsenal. So Philippe Anderson's playing Man City. The only ones left with beneficial fixtures are Martial and Vardy. Martial has been very good, but he won't carry me to victory single-handedly. And Vardy's, I don't know, he's been asleep or just not really scoring anything, not really performing.
So I disagree. I think Nicholas has made some very good business and developed a very strong squad. Martial there's no reason for him to just stop scoring. I think he may even get 2 goals in the next game. And Nicholas works his magic and always seems to get the win. So yeah, I think Bideshi's team is weaker. He's got some players in there like Kante and Keita who don't really do anything. And he's got a few other ones as well, but I'll mention them. But yeah, my boy Nicholas, the new king, the reason why he's the king.
I think it's going to be close. I think Nicholas will just edge it.
I think we're all in agreement. I'm going with Nicholas as well. In fact, sorry, against Nicholas.
So it's actually 3 against 1.
3 against 1.
Yeah.
Okay. So we move on to the MRGA Cup. Got 3 of our semi-finalists here. Question for you guys: will you be focusing on the league game or the cup game? 2 legs.
Who am I playing?
I think you're playing me.
Oh, right. Yeah, in the upcoming game, I'll probably not get any loans in, or I'll have to see. I mean, I'll be focusing on the league, definitely, defending that top spot, so that I can finally sacrifice a player. I've been dreaming of that honor since the league started. And yeah, the cup, it's gonna be tough. I mean, let's see, just wing it.
Well, I play every game to win it. Over the next 2 games, I've got James and Sham. Both beatable. Time will tell.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting as it's over 2 legs. Yeah, and next week the fixtures are quite tough. But as I said, it'll be good to play you in the final.
Do you want to make predictions on who's going to make the final and who's going to win it?
I think me and Nicholas, I think it'll be close. It's hard to predict. I think it'll be very close.
Mihir will probably make more of an effort to win in the cup than I will. So may just win it. The semi-final, that is, not the whole thing.
And I'm thinking with the deal that Dan and Sham have, it might see me out the cup, and that would leave possibly a game which would be Nicholas versus Dan, and I think Nicholas would take it.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
You mean a final? Me versus Dan in the final?
Yeah, because Dan's doing what he needs to do to try and beat me. He's got a bet on. He's going to be taking players on. So.
I don't think I have a chance in the finals against Dan. Maybe if Ronald gets injured, I might have a shot.
Any other topics of discussion?
I think that's it for me.
Yeah. Well, thank you for listening to this podcast, and we'll see you next week.